See, this is good because now you're thinking about what you believe and why you believe it. I love this stuff.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, I have this hobby YouTube channel where I like to talk with people about what they believe, why, and how how do we know those reasons are good reasons.
Okay.
So it could be really about anything, and I like to listen to people potentially talk about a problem they think is meaningful to them that they want to solve,
Yeah.
and all that goes into it. But your name is what?
My name is Christina Parker.
Christina.
Yes.
Hi. How's your America Fest going so far?
America Fest is going super great. Yesterday was awesome. I have a lot of my friends here with me from Maine, where I live.
Nice. Yeah. Did you see any of the panels or speakers or anything so far?
No, I've been busy doing interviews and stuff. But last year I went to the breakout sessions, and those were super awesome. I'm hoping to catch a couple of them tomorrow.
Okay, nice. Sweet. Cool. All right, so what would you like to talk about?
What would I like to talk about? Well, I'll just tell you about what I do back in Maine.
Okay.
My friend and I, came to America Fest last year and were inspired to start a chapter. We have a activism hub, which is mostly homeschoolers and then a couple charter kids. And we have a chapter where we are very pro-life. That's what we focus on a lot. Pro-Second Amendment and educating ourselves to be proper American citizens who understand our constitutional rights and what it means to be an American, what our foundational principles are on. I'm the vice president for that chapter. I've been pretty busy with that. We have debate nights, we've hosted a couple speakers, things like that.
Wow. So it's a homeschooling, high school activism club thing?
Yep. So I've been homeschooled for most of my school career, I guess. And a lot of my friends from that we were able to pull in together. We also have a couple public school kids, a couple charter school, private school, that kind of thing. We kind of pull everybody in because there's actually only 2 chapters in Maine right now. So anyone in the area, we're like, come on, come hang out.
Amazing. So yeah, you try to focus on a few issues, pro-life stuff, Second Amendment stuff, but also debate.
Debate, yes.
How do you go about debating and talking about issues?
Personally, I really love debate. I am the type of person who will argue and discuss something with anybody, anytime, about anything, really, just because I really like the banter. And I think it's a really good way to learn because you're hearing other perspectives, and that's how you can build your own idea and worldview. So one of the first things that I wanted to do when we started the chapter is I wanted to have a debate night. So what I did is I put together a presentation and spoke to about 18 chapter members, I think, and I explained what debate is. How do you form your argument? So what I said is claim plus evidence is your argument. That's what you're trying to tell people. And how to get people to kind of see what you're saying, public speaking stuff. And then 2 weeks later at our next chapter meeting, we had a debate night where we had the chapter members debate each other in sort of a formal style. I gave them a topic, some time to research, and it was just a good way to teach them how to articulate what they believe, because I think that's something that everybody should know. If you have a belief, you want to tell people, you got to know how to tell people, and that's how you build society. So it's a super important foundation, I think, for everybody, and that's what we wanted to kind of instill in our chapter members as we're growing adults and about to enter into the adult world, I suppose.
Cool, great. I've been experimenting with one thing around helping people talk about issues across divides.
Mm-hmm.
And one way to do that is to bring up some claim that people disagree about, and then I have people write down their best reason for being where they are, and another person writing the best reason for where they are if they disagree, and having people try to guess what that reason is.
Okay.
Want to try to do that right now?
Yeah, so what is it exactly?
So we need to come up with something we disagree about.
Okay.
I don't hear anything we currently disagree about now, but we can throw out some issues, and we'll see if we can find something we disagree about. So maybe pro-life. Something about abortion. Maybe what would be a claim you could make about abortion that most people would disagree about?
Most people would disagree about. Life begins at conception. The moment the baby is formed and the DNA from the mother and the father come together, that is when life begins.
Okay.
And anytime after that, it would be wrong.
And also the legal personhood rights go along with that time?
Well, as Americans, we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And there's no difference for a baby versus someone who is in the womb versus the baby that's outside the womb. So
that's getting into reasons. Hang on. You would make that claim.
I'd claim that personhood begins at conception, and so do their American rights.
Let's make that the claim.
Okay.
Personhood begins at conception.
Okay.
So your best reason, I would disagree with that. So I'll write down my best reason.
As to why you disagree with
Why I
it,
disagree
and I'll
with
write
that.
down my best reason as to
Yeah,
why.
and we'll try to guess to see if we can find each other's reasons. Why would I disagree with that? Got one?
Yep.
Your main reason? Okay, don't let me see it.
Oh, sorry.
Want to guess mine first, or want me to attempt to guess yours?
You said you disagreed at what mine was, right?
Yeah, and the claim is personhood begins at conception.
So a lot of arguments that people have is
We'll
because
try to guess my main reason.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
perhaps that babies don't have the ability to sustain themselves, I suppose, before a certain amount of time. Therefore, they don't have the
That's
same.
not it.
Not it?
No, so I'll now try to guess yours.
All right.
And we'll go back and forth. What could be the reason? It's just anything that is human and that is alive, by definition, has value. Like human life has a God-given value, and the Constitution should protect that kind of value.
Yeah, I think you even put it more complicated than I did. I do believe that, but
Okay.
do you want me to read what I have written?
Is that the same reason you put down?
I'd say it is.
It's the same reason?
Yeah. Would you like me to read
Okay, sure, go ahead.
it? There's no difference between a born person and an unborn person. Therefore, they both have the same God-given rights, which is essentially what you said.
I think I got it. I want to try mine again?
Yours again. So, you said it was not.
Not about sustaining the baby.
And it's not about like the dependability of the baby on the mother. That's what I meant by the sustainability.
No.
No? Was it perhaps that the baby can't think for itself at that time and they don't have consciousness?
Personhood requires consciousness.
Personhood requires consciousness.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
I do disagree with that. I don't know if that's something you want to discuss.
Yeah, want to focus on that?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
personhood does not define consciousness. So
Want
what
to make
about
this the claim now? To potentially have our reasons
Yeah,
for
we
and
can do
against
that.
that? Yeah,
I'm
let's just
gonna-
reset to this claim.
Okay.
Personhood requires confident consciousness. I agree, and you would disagree?
Right.
So now let's do it again. Why do I agree with that? Let's see. Yeah, let's think about it.
Free YouTube interview here.
Yeah,
On any of you guys interview people on anything?
I'm interviewing her right now. You can do it maybe after.
Okay, sorry
Sure.
to interrupt.
I don't know if this is a good reason, but this is what comes to mind. I'm gonna change it. Change it.
See, this is good because now you're thinking about what you believe and why you believe it. I
know.
love this stuff.
Yeah, no. It's like, what is my definition of a person?
Isn't that a good question?
It's just
It's interesting what terms we use because you said personhood, but you could also just be like humane or human, I guess would be a better word.
yeah.
That's another thing we talked about a lot with the debate night is if you're both using a different definition of a term, how are you going to get anywhere if you don't believe that, I don't know, race, the definition of race or stuff like that.
Okay, this is a weird reason.
Well,
I don't know if you'll get this one. Sorry,
oh, okay.
but I just read a book recently, and it has an interesting definition of a person, which
Okay.
I'll have this here, but I'm not sure about it. We'll go with this for now. All right.
Okay. So you said that personhood needs consciousness.
Yeah.
So I'm going to guess what your claim behind that is that in order to be a person, being a person requires interacting with people, having a life, kind of doing things spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, kind of just interacting with the world. And you're claiming that someone who doesn't have consciousness can't do that?
Nope.
No? All right. Have at it with me, I guess.
Okay. So personhood requires consciousness. You disagree. Yeah. The only thing that is required for personhood is to be human and alive.
That is not what I went with. I
Okay.
do believe that, but that's not what I wrote down.
Okay. Is that a better or worse reason? I assume that's worse.
Say it again. What was the guess?
In order for personhood, all you need is to be human and to be alive. Just those two criteria.
It's probably a better reason. Mine is just a little more detailed, I guess, and it uses like an example
Okay.
of like a metaphor or something like that.
Okay. We'll give each other 3 chances. So here's your second chance.
Second chance, you believe that personhood requires consciousness. And that is because, well, some may claim that if abortion happens before a certain period of time, the baby doesn't realize that it's happening. They don't feel the pain because they don't have a heartbeat or a developed brain. And you're saying that because of that, they're not a person because they're not conscious of it. And it doesn't have, not that it doesn't have life because it is growing, but that it doesn't have something that they're doing like out in the world.
Something that they're doing.
Yeah. So
That
like
is-
just interacting with the world, like a life.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, get a life, like go do something. That's what that particular edition of a life, because they don't quite have that yet.
That's a general category of my specific reason, but well,
So,
no.
yours is more specific
mine's
than
more
that.
specific
All
about
right.
something. So yeah,
So here's try 2 for you.
so it's more detailed than that. Potentially a religious reason. God creates every single human with a soul, and everyone starts at conception. And this should, our legal starting point for where a person starts should be the same as where God starts it.
Again, that is a really good reason, but that's not exactly what I went with.
Okay.
And then I get one last try for you. Personhood needs consciousness because you said you had a weird definition of personhood,
Yeah.
and you brought up the whole soul thing. Are you a Christian?
No.
No. All right. So perhaps personhood to you means this is really interesting because you said it's more minute than what I was already giving.
Yeah. Something that humans can do.
Something to do.
Yeah.
Is it knowing the difference between right and wrong? And morality, I guess.
That's a consequence of this.
Consequence of this?
Yeah.
It's not about having a soul. No. So I guess that would be my guess is it's about having a soul and moral right from wrong, which you said was not it.
Nope.
So are you going to read yours?
Did we both give 3 guesses? I
You
think we
have
did.
to guess one more time on mine because I guessed
Okay.
first.
Yeah. I'll guess one more time. Jeez. This is why personhood does not require consciousness, not religious, not by definition. Maybe something practical. It's just if we don't start it at conception, then the line is basically arbitrary.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be birth. Anywhere in between conception and birth is really hard to pin down, so just make it at the most conservative place, conception, for practical reasons.
That is a good argument for between the first 2 that we did, so like the first argument little thing that we had in this one, that is a good overarching one, but this one was more specific to the personhood and conscious one. So what I said is that it does not require consciousness because apply the same logic to someone who is in a coma or has maybe a lower quality of life. They have a disease or like a disorder in their brain and they don't interact with people as much as we do, but that doesn't make them any less of a person just because they can't do what you and I can do. Does that make sense?
I understand that reason. Yeah, and I would also disagree with that reason. But we
You
can,
disagree with
but we
that?
can wait. If they truly lose consciousness permanently,
Not permanently, but I think that
yeah,
there comes a point where they're unconscious and there's a possibility that they'll become reconscious. But that doesn't mean you have the right to kill them just because they depend on you to live. Because
Yeah.
they're still a person. You don't have a right over where their soul ends up and what time their soul goes to either heaven or
yeah.
hell.
Maybe we can continue on that path after I explain my reason.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I read this book, The Beginning of Infinity by David Deutsch earlier this year, and he has this definition of a person, which is that they have the capacity for creating explanatory knowledge.
The capacity?
So no consciousness, no capacity for creating explanatory knowledge.
And that is the definition of a person.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious to see what, like, I don't know, Google's definition of a person is, because that's like more like I don't want to say theological, but a philosophical definition of, I guess, because personhood is being a person. So we are human, Homo sapiens, that kind of thing. So then if you are alive, growing, living, and you are a Homo sapien, I think that makes you a person. Because
that's a reason I potentially gave as well. You just need the two alive and a human. You're a person. Yeah.
Yes, I think so. And you disagree with that?
And the fertilized egg is both alive and a human. That counts.
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
Conception. Okay.
Right.
But that's not conscious.
That is not conscious. And I said that consciousness does not mean being a person. That's what we were disagreeing about before.
Yeah. Okay.
I can see where you're coming from, though. You got decent reasoning, I think, behind your logic.
Okay, cool.
Because sometimes you interact with these people and they say like the most absurd things, and you're like, how does that make sense? But I can see the thought process behind what it is you're saying.
So I'm interested in going down on the reasons for your reason, or we can talk about this. I'd be fine to go down yours if you want.
And I
about
said-
but it's about you made an analogy,
Yeah.
I think, about
Yeah.
if apply this same logic to a person in a coma.
Right.
If we applied this, we would do something not good. Basically, terminating.
Yeah. Well, and
life.
that comes down to life having
yeah.
value.
Yeah, people in comas' lives have value.
Yeah.
Fertilized eggs have the same amount of value.
Yes. Because they're God's people that he created, so they have a human life as value. And if we cannot determine that as a society, I have no idea where we would possibly end up. Because then you just go kill everybody. So we have to have some sort of standard. And I think the standard is that human life has value. That's why we have laws like no murdering, no punching people in the face randomly for whatever reason and not having consequences for it. And then the same thing is with abortion, is if human life doesn't have value, why don't you can kill a baby a week before it's born or a day before it's born because they don't think it has value.
Yeah, so we should apply this principle universally, regardless of where the development of the baby is.
Yeah.
Conception, it has value, the same amount of value
Right.
as it does the day before birth.
Yeah, because, I mean, another thing is, like, the only difference between a baby in the womb and a baby that's born is what stage of development, isn't it? So you're more developed than I am. So does that mean that because you're more developed that my life has less meaning? Or the location? The difference is in the womb and then outside in my hands. Location.
Yeah. Value. Is there a difference between value a state has for people, like politically, and just in general humans' value for other humans, or potentially God's value for humans?
Well, so the state's value for humans is we have the Constitution. It says that all men are created equal. And the government is supposed to serve the people. I don't know if that's exactly happening right now, but and the government is of the people, for the people, by the people. I think that's what that phrase goes. So I think the government and you and I should have the same value for life. Does that make sense? So the government has to make certain decisions sometimes that might lead to the death of some people. So they might see it differently than you and I, kind of thing, because we're on a more individual, smaller basis. But the government shouldn't be defining what value is. People should be defining what value is. Does that make sense? Because the government's for the people.
Yes, so say people want to define human value as exactly the way the Christian God assigns value, where if you're human and alive, you have exactly the same amount of value as someone who is in a coma
Right. Because both of them have souls.
because of the soul. Yeah,
An eternal soul.
An eternal soul.
Yeah.
Okay. Another option is people are assigned value based on potentially their capacity for benefiting society.
Yeah. I see that as kind of a scary idea
Yeah.
for society. Because then you imagine someone, they lose their leg. Then all of a sudden, the government doesn't care about them anymore because they don't produce anything for society. They still have a soul, but they can't do anything for me, so they don't matter. And that's a really scary thought, I think. And the same thing with babies. So, like, what is a newborn going to do? They're going to do something someday, but right now, oh, yeah, why do we care about them? And we have to care about them because they have value. But if we didn't assign that value originally, what's going to happen? That's just terrifying to me. I see the world going down that path, potentially, and that's why I'm obviously so hard fast about this.
Yes.
That's why I think we need to have value for humans as early as possible. The second, souls have value, okay? So then when the soul is created, that person has a soul, they're alive, they're human, and then they're on Earth, their eternal soul is here forever. So then you can't just terminate that.
Yeah. Should we use that kind of reasoning for policy for the United States?
For policy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
I think
like
so.
constitutional amendments?
Constitutional amendments.
Or just anything we want to do politically in terms of
Yeah.
constitutional rights or policy. We should use souls that should be allowed as a reason.
I think just value in general. Obviously, you bring in the either going to heaven or hell idea. So, like, everyone has duty to decide where they want to end up after their life on Earth once they decide that they're on Earth. But the government has a tough job of trying to keep as many people alive as possible, and sometimes that requires the sacrifice of others, willing sacrifice, hopefully. So, I think that public policy, it shouldn't just be a bunch of people hanging out at the Capitol making rules for everyone else. That's something that they talked about at America Fest earlier, which the government is supposed to be of the people, for the people. And that should be their number one goal in policy, is to provide a good quality of life for its American citizens, given what we have as standards from our Creator. That's how I believe the government should operate.
The role of government should help people have a higher quality of life.
I think it should give them the opportunity to have a higher quality of life. So then taking away their life unnecessarily through an abortion, they don't even have
No chance to
the
do it.
right to the pursuit of happiness. We're not guaranteed happiness. We're not guaranteed, oh, we're going to feed you every day. We're going to give you everything you possibly need. But we have the right to pursue that, and that's the American dream. It's not just we're going to hand you everything. It's you have the opportunity to be in a place where you can work to build a good life for you and your family.
Yeah. Aborted fetuses don't have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, so we should outlaw abortion completely?
I think abortion should be outlawed completely.
Yeah. well,
Yeah, because they have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Right to life. So if you kill them, you're not using that right that they already have. And the pursuit of happiness is, if you leave them alone for a couple months, they'll come out of the woman's body, and then they get to go live their life after a time.
All right. Sorry, what was your name again?
Christina Parker.
Christina.
Yes.
Great. Great, Christina. I think we talked about it a lot, reflected.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Well, thank you for chatting with me. I really enjoyed it. I like the banter and the learning and seeing what other people think.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right.
I haven't had a debate like that in a while. Thank you. I don't get opportunity to speak.